This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. I lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a voice.
Welcome back to the Special Chronicles Podcast, where we're giving respect and voice to people with special needs. I'm your host, Daniel Smrokowski, founder and host of Special Chronicles, and a proud Special Olympics athlete leader. Before we dive into today's conversation, I want to take a moment to thank our amazing sponsors who make this podcast possible. The ComEd Energy Force Ambassador Program is the country's first energy and solar efficiency education program designed for and taught by people with disabilities. And United Airlines Bridge Disability Business Resource Group, connecting people of all abilities. You can follow us online at specialchronicles.com. That's specialchronicles.com, and join our community on social media at Special Chronicles. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or on specialchronicles.com so you never miss a story that empowers and inspires. And now let's get into today's episode as we share exciting updates about Athlete Leadership University within Special Olympics Illinois. I know I'm wearing my branded Athlete Leadership polo. I don't know. I think our guest might be. Please put your both your hands together as we welcome Michelle Mark, Director of Athlete Leadership and Family Initiatives, and Emily Sullivan, Assistant Director of Athlete Leadership and Family Initiatives, both from Special Olympics Illinois, to the Special Chronicles Podcast. Welcome, Michelle and Emily.
Hi, Daniel.
Hi. Good to have you both on the podcast. And I know, Emily, you were just on the Special Chronicles Podcast Network. Another show is Amazing Individuals. And so it feels, I guess at Special Chronicles, we feel extra lucky to have not just one, but two on. Awesome. So we're going to dive right in, and we have some listeners that know about athlete leadership, some that are new. We've covered athlete leadership, well, probably for about 17 years on this podcast. But give us an overview of what is athlete leadership and what this awesome program is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Athlete Leadership Program essentially gives individuals with intellectual disabilities the ability to stand out, speak out, and let their voices be heard. It teaches different leadership skills and knowledge for athletes to be able to reshape the Special Olympics Illinois movement and make sure that they are center stage and that we become an athlete-led organization.
Awesome. And I know for myself, I've been involved with athlete leadership for about 17 years now, as long as I've been podcasting. And I know we've had other athlete leaders in Illinois that have been involved for even longer than that, 20 and more years. But for any new listener, I guess for a lot of our listeners, they just saw or hopefully saw that Athlete Leadership University has some new changes within Special Olympics Illinois. Can you walk us through? Can you both walk us through what's new for Athlete Leadership University?
Yeah, absolutely. We are very excited that we are officially launching the Special Olympics Illinois Athlete Leadership University. It's been a couple of months in the making, so we're super excited to officially have the kickoff this August. Registrations did go out a couple weeks ago, and we are ready to host our first university-style academy in just a couple weeks in August. So there's a few slight changes to the program and to what Special Olympics Illinois Athlete Leadership has typically looked like. But we are very excited for the growth that this program has and the way that we can involve our athletes into more meaningful involvement within Special Olympics Illinois and outside in the community. We are excited that we are introducing 4 majors within University for Illinois. So we have the athlete spokesperson, which is those individuals who are interested in public speaking and letting their actual voices be heard. We have athlete representative, which is a little bit more of the behind the scenes, those athletes who are interested in policies and how to be on like the back end of some of those changes, and, making sure that their voices are heard in the back end for their fellow athletes across the state. We have event lead, which is for those athletes who are interested in the planning of events, both fundraising as well as sporting events. And then we have our health messenger program, which is those athletes interested in sharing healthy habits and tips and tricks and all that stuff to do with healthy lifestyles. So we are really excited. We've got those 4 majors ready to go. So hopefully a position for any athlete, hopefully something of interest.
Awesome. And I'm sure, as you both know, as I know, we had the Leadership Academy this past November. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure some athlete leaders might be wondering if I obviously attended it, but speaking as someone who didn't, if I don't attend the Leadership Academy, am I still considered an athlete leader? What does it mean to be an athlete leader under this new structure?
Yeah, that's a great question. So with this new structure, one of our goals was to have year-round engagement. So instead of having an academy every 2 years, we're trying to host an academy twice a year on top of virtual training. So our goal is to grow our athlete leaders. So when an athlete leader comes to us in the middle of the year and, they're looking to get involved right away, maybe because they have free time or they just heard of the program, we will have some sort of training available. So we host the monthly workshops, which we have on the 3rd Thursday of every month. And we choose a variety of topics like internet safety, sleep soundly. We've had great hosts come on for that. And then we also host an intro and understanding session virtually as well. So if an athlete is just hearing of athlete leadership for the first time, instead of throwing them into academy or to any of these more advanced curriculums, we're going to kind of start from the beginning and just go over what it looks like to be an athlete leader. Is this something they want to invest their time in? Because Daniel, I'm sure there's a lot of time that goes into it. And just see if it's a good fit for them. So our goal is to have, a way for athletes to start year round. And on top of that, having a space that's welcoming for everyone at all levels. So an athlete may come in with more public speaking experience, or maybe not any public speaking experience at all, but we're there to help them train, to help them get to that place that they want to be at.
Awesome. And I'm sure there are probably going to be a lot of athlete leaders in Illinois that are tuning in right now that are also going to be asking, why should an athlete leader like myself go through the Athlete Leadership University program if they've done all or pretty much all of the different athlete leadership trainings in the past? What benefits or opportunities will athletes gain? Well, how does it help us to grow as leaders?
Yeah, so I know that's a big question, and we've gotten that a couple times. So we just want to reiterate that throughout the year, throughout all of our personal development workshops that are offered virtually every month throughout Academy, we're just really trying to focus on the skills that our athletes are asking for, and to how to better prepare them to be a leader both within Special Olympics and without. So a lot of the skills and knowledge that we go over monthly and in Academy is really just continuing to build on some of those core leadership qualities that they already have, but just increasing that and increasing their awareness and their availability for both within Special Olympics and outside. So one of the leadership, qualities is continuous improvement. So just because we became an athlete leader, a year ago or 5 years ago, there's always room to grow, and a lot of different opportunities and different workshops and things that are of interest to you guys. So I think that's the biggest thing, is we're just trying to provide that ongoing support and skill-based training to just make sure that you guys are continuing to improve and continuing to be a role model for your fellow athletes. That's like our big thing. So, things change, some content changes, interests change. So we're just trying to be here as an opportunity to continue to be involved. And then also throughout this program and, things that you learn, there's opportunities that come up to, serve as the MC to an opening ceremonies. So, when you go through the public spokesperson or the athlete spokesperson training, you're getting that practice, you're getting how to deliver a speech, those key skills needed. We're trying to help provide that training. So just being involved in some of these core classes or these workshops is just to enhance your already great skills that you have. But how can we just kind of bring it to the next level and at the same time be able to offer you some of these opportunities within Special Olympics to serve on some of these committees, to serve in these public speaking roles. So we just, want to make sure that everyone's getting a nice training and then obviously continuing to be that role model.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. And having experience as a Southern Tribal Global Messenger, even, and I guess I want to speak on behalf of a lot of us that have either have had that role or have had a lot of roles that even if you have a lot of roles, that continuous improvement that you just talked about, I think that's a big, important message that I think a lot of athlete leaders should hear about, because I or any of us might think that you know everything, but to continually to be, relearning those skills, just like I'm sure both of you as staff probably go through training throughout the year. So it
absolutely. You never stop learning.
Yes.
And a lot of
part of the reason we have we titled our monthly workshops as personal development. So there's, in our eyes, there's always room to grow. You could always be improving on something. So just because you're attending the workshop doesn't mean that you're a new leader. It means that you're willing to grow and to build your skills even further.
Awesome. And speaking of growing and looking into the future of Athlete Leadership University, because even though we've had even beyond Karen Milligan, even beyond even before Hull, there was athlete leadership even before I got involved over years ago. So those each staff like yourselves that takes on the program to lead us, there's always changes, and just because those new changes now, I'm sure that it's not going to the Athlete Leadership University and the new Athlete Leadership Program that's coming out now that we're talking about now, it's not going to stay the same a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. So what do you both see as the future of Athlete Leadership University looking over the next few years? Are there any goals for how many athlete leaders that you want to reach, or would stay in person? Would it be virtual options like those combination?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love that you phrased how each year is different, because we hope that's the case. With this new structure, we hope this is the foundation for continuous growth. So for me in the future, we hope to see master's programs. So are there athletes that already majored athlete spokesperson want to go the step above? Can we provide the training for that? Can we gather resources? Can we have athletes as facilitators or co-facilitators for our majors, meaning athletes that have gone through and truly mastered their major and are ready to share with other athlete leaders. Can athletes serve as mentors for the new leaders? If we hope to continue grow and to reach the lots of athletes we have in our state, athlete leaders would be the best type of mentor for those new leaders joining the program. And then just growing nationally too. So if there is someone that wants to move beyond Illinois and go to the global movement, we want to be able to provide training and resources for that. And within our own state, we hope to get representation across Illinois through all the regions. So we definitely, at this moment, we have some regions that are heavily populated with athlete leaders, which is amazing. But how can we grow those in the regions that are lacking a little bit in those athlete leaders? And how can we get athlete leaders with a variety of majors? So not all athlete spokespersons are in one place. Can they be across the state so they're able to reach more? Can there be event leaders, running different fundraisers across Illinois? So I truly see it growing where it is truly going to be athlete led, and that they have opportunities where they see fit and where they're passionate about, and when they're able to always have that next goal to continually to be growing.
Awesome. I want to build upon one thing that you said, Emily, as our chairman, Tim Shriver, talks about how Special Olympics is an athlete-led movement. And just like what we saw at the Leadership Academy with myself and Kaylee and Lisa and Eric and your sidekick, Michelle Jose, leading the trainings. So that's one step. But building upon our chairman, Tim Shriver, always talking about being an athlete-led movement, can you go maybe a little bit more in depth on how the trainings, both the personal and development trainings that are virtual, the in-person trainings that's going to happen by the time people hear this month of August, and then so how can you go a little bit more in depth about why, from both of your perspectives, why is it important that nothing against outside or staff or other people leading the trainings, but why do you both feel that it's important to kind of follow along with what our chairman Tim Shriver is talking about of having these trainings be athlete led?
Yeah, one thing that comes to my mind immediately is meaningful roles. So making sure that an athlete, I think we could all agree we want to be an athlete-led organization, and you can't get there by tomorrow. You have to have the skills to grow, but you also have to be in the right position and comfortable. So we want our athlete leaders to be comfortable and confident in what they're doing, and not just pushing someone to the top because we want to be athlete-led. We want to make sure that they're properly trained, that they like what they're doing. Part of the reason why we are offering all these different types of majors, because not every person is a spokesperson. Not every person wants to lead an event or be behind the logistics of an event. So making sure that everyone has those meaningful roles, because I truly believe when you're, authentically yourself and in those roles that you're passionate about, that's when you'll succeed and be a true leader for all athletes.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think also within this program, what we're developing and what, we're training is really to become that athlete led. So once you go through academy, we're introducing something that health messengers have always done, but our athlete leadership program hasn't, which is our activation projects. So once you learn and you sit through all the training, you learn what it means to be an event lead, you're going to then leave academy and everyone's always like, well, what's next? Well, now we're introducing the activation projects where you're actually going to put what you learned into real life situations. So whether that's connecting with your region staff and your Special Olympics, team, and you help plan that event. So now we really are becoming that athlete led because we've given the athletes all the training that they need. We've given the position to sit at the table and make sure their voices are heard, and then essentially then lead that event or lead that speech, or, be sitting at the board of directors table, leading policy changes. So I think everything that we're doing is going to be essentially leading up to that athlete-led organization and movement that we strive so hard to get to. The joke is we have to start from the ground up sometimes. So just making sure that everyone has that solid foundation training, is going to be really important, in making sure that then essentially our staff are also aware of the training that these athletes are given, to make sure that they know how to involve them in that meaningful role, and to make sure that everyone is set up for success. Yeah. So we kind of have to go backwards in order to go forward a little bit, but we're really excited for that.
Awesome. Yeah, I know this is something that a few of us have talked about in the past, is athletes as coaches, how those other programs, and something that even before, Michelle, you took over, and Emily, before you came on, even prior to you guys coming on, the staff was, at least here in Illinois, the staff wasn't in the right spot to be able to work with us once we were trained as athletes, as coaches. And so do you guys, in addition to the athlete spokesperson, the athlete representative, health messenger, these roles that we are scouting with now, do you envision in another year or two having athletes as coaches and new roles like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this structure is really set up to grow. I mean, we had to start somewhere, and unfortunately, we had to start small. I mean, we are really this fall only doing 3 of the 4 majors, and then in 2026 we'll bring on that 4th one. But you can't really. We don't want to go too big where then it flops and everyone is just confused and there's just mass chaos happening within the organization. So we really are structuring this to, here's the baseline, and then the possibilities to grow are truly endless, both in the virtual aspect, in those professional development workshops, as well as inside Academy. So what are some of the interests that our athlete leaders have? We want to hear from you guys, because essentially we're not teaching for ourselves. We want to teach for you guys. So what are some of those places that you want to grow? Where are your goals and that mission statement that you created in Intro to Athlete Leadership and that leadership journey? Where is that taking you? Let us know. And then, we can continue to grow this program and add different elements to it. I mean, it's a really flexible way to start with so much room for growth.
Awesome. And the time is flying by, and we've got a few final reflection segment here at the end. So as we almost come to a close, I'm sure there might be an athlete wondering how can someone who's new to athlete leadership or unsure where to get started with Athlete Leadership University, is there support for athletes who may need extra help or who might not know their leadership path? What direction can you? Because I know, for example, being at the Summer Games, hopefully people saw the Athlete Leadership headquarters tent with information about, and so that, I'm sure that's one way. But as you both know, not every athlete in the state goes to a state competition. So so hopefully we're going to have a lot new athletes that will tune into this podcast. I'm wondering, well, how can I get involved? And if anyone is listening in another state and another country, specialolympics.org, and find your local program to get involved. But here in Illinois, can you both speak to how, if someone is unsure of how to get involved in Athlete Leadership
Yeah, absolutely. So Emily and myself are always available. You can always contact your region staff as well, and they'll point you in the direction. We do have an email, athleteleadership@soil.org. So if there are any, current athlete leaders that their teammates are asking, well, how do you get to do all this? And you're involved in so many ways. And how is that all? We're really looking for our athletes to promote athlete leadership from the inside. Emily and myself can only stand at those headquarter tables and preach the good things about athlete leadership, but we want our active athlete leaders to be preaching to their fellow teammates. So contact Emily or myself. There's the athlete leadership email. Contact your regional staff. There's multiple ways, but we are open to all new athletes interested, any veteran athletes who maybe have kind of fell off the athlete leadership journey and they are interested in coming back. We would love to have you back as well. And then, once you kind of start getting going with these workshops and the intro and understanding classes, you really start diving into what is your leadership journey? Where do you want to go? What is of interest? And we really dive into the majors to make sure that the path that's best for you. So everyone's journey is different. So what your friend's journey is not going to be what yours is maybe. But Emily and I are always open for a conversation to help athletes figure out what that journey might look like.
Awesome. And for those of you that are not watching the video podcast, if you like myself and for audio podcasts, we'll put the email in the description below wherever you are listening to this to get involved, athleteleadership@soil.org. What message would you like to share? And the past half hour has been hopefully very, and even for myself as a veteran athlete leader, is really informative. And so hopefully a lot of the other veteran athlete leaders and any athletes across the state of Illinois found this to be very informative. But what message do you both would like to share with athlete leaders across Illinois who are listening today?
Yeah, I'll say that there's a spot for everyone. So whether you want to be, this to be a full-time thing or a part-time, there's a spot where everyone can grow, where they can learn and see where the journey takes you. You never know what your passion's going to be or which workshop you attend that really is of interest to you, or another fellow athlete leader that you meet that may tag you into a project. So we just ask that you're open to this program, and that if you have any questions or just want to talk over any ideas, that we're here and that there's a spot for you.
Awesome. And once again, athleteleadership@soil.org if you want to talk to Emily and Michelle. And with that, before we get to the final question, the final call to action at the end, do you both have any final thoughts on I think this is both of your first times on the Special Chronicles podcast.
Yeah.
I know probably the first athlete-led podcast since this has been around for 17 years, the longest running. I don't know if it's amazing. I'm speaking to the regional staff across the globe this Wednesday about athletes as podcasters and storytellers, and so hopefully it's safe to say, well, at least according to Tim Shriver, the first athlete-led, even though it's outside of Special Olympics, but like it's independent of, but. Yeah. So do you both have any final thoughts on your overall time here today on the Special Chronicles podcast?
Yeah, I think we both really appreciate the opportunity to talk about this program. I know it may have come as a surprise to some of you, but we really hope that you're excited to join us in this new journey. I know, we've spent a lot of time. We've listened to you guys. From day one of my start in this role, I was getting phone calls of, I want to do this and my interest is here and how do I get here? we've been listening, we've been taking notes, and we hope that we created a program that you guys are excited for and that you find a place to be successful and happy with. So we're excited. We've got a few new athlete leaders joining university as well as the first time. So we are just really excited.
Awesome. Well, I think that deserves an applause from our audience. Well, there's nobody in this studio here except pictures, but yeah. Emily, did you have any final thoughts?
Just to reiterate what Michelle said, thank you so much for having us and for spreading the word and for sharing your experiences and your stories, because that's truly how we grow the movement, is to learn from other leaders like you.
Awesome. One other, before we get to the final question, I want to add to for our listeners the power of being athlete led. I believe at our state summer games, the new, at a lot of our state competitions, the new cauldron that lights the flame of hope was designed by, I know I was on a team that helped to figure out what the design was, and then there was another team of athlete leaders that actually designed it. And so I think that's to kind of leave our listeners with the impact of being athlete led. I don't know if you guys want to comment on that kind of impact of how there was a team of athlete leaders that was figuring out what the design was going to be, and then there was a team of a few athlete leaders that actually designed the cauldron. So instead of having staff, design and figure it out, that's a powerful example of what athlete led means.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this organization, this movement wouldn't be possible without our athletes. So really getting them in the forefront of what we do is one of our most important goals. So we hope that we're setting our athletes up for those projects, and hope to set up more athletes with more of those kind of projects, which is the really exciting about this program. We know we can loop back to what university is. But again, we would not be here without our athletes. So if there's anything that you're interested in, want to learn more about, let either your region staff know or Emily and myself, and we'll find a way. If there's not a way, we'll tell you that, but I'm sure there's always a way. So just reach out and let us know, because we want you guys in the front and center. So, but we can't do that if we don't hear from you.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah, and we'll for those of you that are tuning in, we'll make sure to put that athleteleadership@soil.org email in the description below wherever you are listening. And so you don't have to go searching online for it. We'll make it easy to just go to specialchronicles.com for this episode. And we got one final question, and to introduce that, we've got a bumper. So let's go ahead and roll that bumper.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising.
Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Difference.
Our demands are
equality.
Dignity.
And the recognition of our
shared humanity. We will not stop
or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
more divided than ever.
Coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution
is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
So ever since I attended the 2019 World Games in Abu Dhabi, I've been asking pretty much all of our guests this final question, that we don't just want to listen to it. Well, we of course want them to learn about athlete leadership, athlete leadership university, but we also want our listeners to, just like this whole movement is about the inclusion revolution, and we want our listeners to take action. And this question will help to hopefully get our listeners thinking into take action and bring inclusion into their communities, their workplaces, those sport clubs, and all of that. So what, for you both, what does inclusion mean to you?
To me, inclusion is where you feel like you belong, where everyone feels like they have a spot, and where they can be their authentic selves. I feel like the most growth happens when we are around other people who support us, for being ourselves, so we could, truly all have a place where we feel like we belong.
Yeah, and I would say that meaningful involvement and making sure that everywhere we're creating that space for a safe space for everyone, not just a seat at the table, but also a voice at the table. So making sure that, we're not just inviting someone just to say we did, but that we're actually hearing and learning from individuals. Like Emily said, there's growth in everyone. So just making sure that there's a place where everyone feels that they belong.
Awesome. Well, that's a perfect way to wrap up this episode. Thank you again for both taking the time out of, I know it's with a few weeks before the Athlete Leadership University kicks off, which I don't know if I actually replied yet, but hopefully it's not too late for me to reply. Is there still space?
There might be a space.
You know how to reach us
in one of the majors, but maybe send an email.
Yes. So for those of you that are like me, and if you are very busy with your sports and work and all that, if there is space, just reach out to Michelle and Emily, Athlete Leadership at Sawyer.org. And thank you again for both coming on. I'm sure this was very past half hour and very informative.
Thanks for having us, Daniel.
Thank you so much for having us.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Special Chronicles podcast. A big thank you again to Michelle and Emily from Special Olympics Illinois, Director of Athlete Leadership and Family Initiatives, for joining us and sharing exciting updates about Athlete Leadership University. If you're an athlete leader or want to become one, we hope today's conversation helped you feel informed, empowered, and inspired to take your leadership journey to the next level. Don't forget to check out specialchronicles.com. That's specialchronicles.com for more podcasts, blogs, newsletters, and resources. And be sure to follow us on social media at Special Chronicles to stay connected. Thank you again to all partners, ComEd, Powering Lives, through energy and solar efficiency education designed for and taught by people with disabilities, and United Airlines Bridge Disability Business Resource Group, connecting people of all abilities through inclusive innovation. And until next time, remember, inclusion is a journey, and together we're making it happen. I'm Daniel Smrokowski. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week, right here on specialchronicles.com. Until then, choose to include. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles Podcast. Our podcast was produced by Daniel Smrokowski on the Special Chronicles Network. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can stream our archives of over 500 episodes absolutely for free. Also, there's a list of our favorites, original series, award-winning columns, and blogs. And sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox. Again, specialchronicles.com. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard. Thanks, as always, to our business manager, Adam Smrokowski, who always encourages us to never give up. I'm Daniel Smrokowski, back next week with more stories.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.